What is that? Oh. so I have Patrick on on his phone, and so I'm going to call him through that. Okay. So I'll join in on those whenever.
Okay. Well, so who else did we have today? Not really.
Niles is the only one. Okay. That was. All
right. So we'll save him for later. Let him know that. And then,
okay.
But then, are you gonna patch in?
All right. Yeah. So I have Patrick on my. You unmuted it. On his phone.
Okay.
So.
Alright, y'all. Welcome to the stream. Let's go. If you can hear me, throw me some thumbs up in the chat. But wonderful to see you guys and your faces. Not really your faces, obviously. But, guys, it is a new season. We already have some comments in the chat, so definitely get your thoughts in there. But, yeah, new 2024 season, and we face off against Columbus, and it's the same old story. Another L at lower.com stadium. But, yeah, I mean, that first half looked pretty bad, huh? Looked pretty bad. We'll get into all that. But, alright. Let's see you guys in the chat. Your comments, thoughts, gripes. I mean, the second half really wasn't that bad, but we'll get into all the nitty-gritty. We'll have some guests. But, yes, first off, shouts out to all the Patreon members. And, yeah, especially the higher tier levels. Gavin, Drew, much love to you guys. Yeah, we'll have Niall on later as well, and Mike will be joining us very shortly. But yeah, let's see what you guys are writing. Bryant Lee says, my 2 cents was good. We struggled first half, but we're getting our groove back. Second half, rating 1 out of 10. We were 6 or 7. We just need more time with each other. Which, that's fair. I mean, Thiago Almada hasn't been with the team all season, all preseason rather, and I mean, yeah, he looked like a player that wasn't really accustomed to his teammates, and yeah, I mean, you know, Giacomakis, he gets a yellow, but he is definitely that workhorse up front. I mean, man, we really didn't make substitutions until about 75th, 80th minute, and it's baffling a little bit because, yeah, I mean, we're very short on depth. You know, we have 3 players out: Derek Etienne, Jamal Tiare. I mean, yeah, just those 2 players alone. I mean, maybe wouldn't affect too much. Tiare maybe could have been a player that we could have brought on. But, man, that first half, I think, just conceding that goal to Cucho is tough. Obviously, we couldn't come back from it. But, man, yeah, the save by Braguzan. Who would have thought? You know, really, when he feels the heat, because that's what it is, right? Like, it's the competition for places. Suddenly, Braguzan saves a penalty. But yeah, that was the big surprise coming into the match with that starting 11 is Braguzan in between the sticks. We have the new boy Josh Cohen, and I mean, yeah, it's a player that probably will be the starter at the end, but I mean, it just wasn't the case at this juncture. But yeah, let's get Michael on here. Let me. I'm not usually working the man in the chair situation, so bear with me, guys, as I try to do some of this because it's also not my computer. But here we go. All right, now we're good. We'll transition here. Nope, that's not it. Hey, that's not it. That you guys get a little sneak peek at something later on. But yeah, give us your thumbs up if you can hear us, everybody. Let me know in the chat. But of course, Michael is here, and
hello.
If you can hear him,
Hear me.
I can hear you. So, yep. Mike, give us your thoughts on this match.
Yeah, so I'm like one of 3 other people here who watched the match along with AJ at my place. And yeah, so what am I going to say about this? I'm going to dodge a bit of controversy and not really talk about the starting keeper issue because I don't think it played into this game that much. I never thought it was going to be a big deal, and it pretty much wasn't this game. This game, though, was a tale of 2 halves, as the cliche often goes. But this was it was interesting in that the first half I felt we haven't improved much. These are pretty much the same, kind of business as usual. Okay, same Atlanta United we're used to, but second half, things changed a bit. I think our stamina was pretty good. I mean, that training Pineda put us through, overclocked us, per se, in the end of the training, the preseason. And we went the full 90 and then some. Mm-hmm. I don't think Columbus was ready. They were tiring out pretty, like we were winning all the second balls. We were getting to a lot of, key positions that triggered a lot of interceptions and turnovers in transition, which was the bane of our existence for the first entire half. A lot of our passes, a lot of our vision was intercepted and clouded by the other team. We were kind of getting sniped and picked off left and right. They were winning basically everything. Columbus was just dominating. Second half, not so much. They looked like they fell off a bit, Columbus. They looked like they, something changed. They probably ran out of energy, whereas our team seemed like our stamina was pretty good. We were winning the second balls. We were intercepting. We were hurting them in transition. Whereas in the first half, it was almost one-way traffic with Columbus in transition. So that was really good to see that we didn't fall off. We continued. However, we weren't able to withstand a fully operational and full power Columbus, which very few teams can. Obviously, they're the reigning champs for a reason. They're very good. We were able to go, not so much toe-to-toe with them in the first half, but in the second half, I think we did better than them. I think we overcame them. Had it been, slightly more lucky and a couple of bounces, we could have tied or won this game. Columbus didn't seem that threatening in the second half compared to what we were doing. First half, though, that was lackluster. That was scary. That's pretty much what everyone was expecting. Us to kind of get a beat down, which is what happened essentially. But the second half, it was not that. We did not just get beat down. We were the ones doing a lot of the beating. So I'm happy to see that. That makes me encouraged for the rest of the season in terms of progress. It seems like we aren't the same Atlanta United. If you want to compare this to the game last year we had in the playoffs in Columbus, we've done much better. A 1-0 defeat versus getting beat by multiple goals away. I think this is an improvement. Maybe not a huge margin of improvement, but an improvement nonetheless. And we didn't give up. That's also good. We had fire at the end. We had more stamina. We seemed to start to click more towards the end. I don't know if that's because Columbus let up or because our tactics shift a little bit and we were able to hit them in more vulnerable positions. I'm not sure. But for me, I thought we did much better in the second. We looked threatening. We looked dangerous. We looked like we should have tied this game had it not been for some lack of clinical, movements towards the very end. I thought we were damn near close a couple of times. And this game feels like it should have been 1-1. And that's absolutely, if it was 1-1, it's a super win for us. Unfortunately, as a 1-0, that's probably the best type of defeat you could ask for. Maybe outside of, in a playoff situation, you go to penalties and lose on penalties. But in this case, a 1-0 defeat away to the best team in the league is not bad. In terms of losses, it's probably the best one you could possibly have. If we just go up from here, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I mean,
this is the type of, defense and attack that we have going forward for the rest of the season against weaker MLS sides, away. I think we can beat them. I think we can beat pretty much everyone if we play like this. We just need to score some goals. Obviously, Columbus' defense is good, but we just need to get more clinical, and that comes with time. That comes with the offense, gelling and clicking a little bit more, getting the rust off, and I think it will come because we were one of the most highest scoring teams in the league last year. It's only a matter of time until we get back to that, and if we have the defense like we had today in the midfield, I think we're looking pretty scary. So, overall optimistic based on what I've seen. Yes, it's a defeat, but this is the best kind of defeat you could probably hope for, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's great shouts. I mean, essentially, we looked bereft of really energy and ideas in the first half, like you said, and the second half way more encouraging. And I think it's a team obviously we weren't looking to beat, really, probably. I mean, realistically, most of us did not have it as a win, and for us to keep them at bay at just one goal in the first half is really, really good, especially with how we actually looked, because they had, I think, 12 shots to our 1 shot, and they had 4 shots on goal, I believe, and we had 0 shots. It's, that's as bad as a half can go. But luckily we didn't concede more goals, and Braguzan did make it where we still had a fighting chance. And that's really more than we can ask for out of Braguzan at the moment. And you didn't want to get into it, but it is like the goalkeeper situation will be.
How did he save a penalty shot? I'm like, this is it. This is everyone who says Braguzan is not for to be in the starting position in this game, and this is it. This is their crowning achievement, their moment to be like, we told you so. And then somehow he saves a penalty. I mean, that's just
most people don't have it on their bingo card.
Weird serendipity.
It is. But that's what happens when you have competition for places. And maybe he did do a little preparation for Cucho for his penalty, so. But let's be real as well. Cucho's penalty wasn't really fantastic. It was, very savable. And, not in a position where he had to dive very far to his right. It wasn't very low or very high. It was pretty much in an area that all he had to do was, slip over to his right. And, he did excellent in doing that. I think your video dropped out for a second, but yeah, I mean, it's just on a level where, I think you're right in that the second half, our physical levels were better, and it was evident in how we were able to press higher and bring up that line of confrontation. That it was difficult. It was actually difficult for Columbus to play out, and they didn't have too many answers. We looked a lot more the team to able to be scoring in the second half. Like that's for damn sure. We weren't the team that was backpedaling as much as we were in the first half. We looked like a team that had a little bit of coherence, but still.
And it came essentially seemingly from nothing from the first half, but it's because Columbus is good. They were able to disrupt us quite a bit, but
right.
Maybe they pushed too hard and ran out of steam, and then we were able to capitalize it. So yeah, that's I guess my whole analysis for the most part. But here is Isai with his.
Yes. How's it going? What's up? One second. Let me fix the stream real quick.
No problem.
I screwed something up here. It's not my computer, so I'm having to hold up.
Some technical difficulties.
Yeah. Hold on. Oh, Mike.
Look at this. I have chalk in my nose.
I know. Help, Mike. Help.
Oh, Mike. All right. Well, we can hang out here for a second.
Yep. All right, let's see. Not sure what's happening.
What's wrong?
Yeah, you see this? Boom. Yeah, no, but it's not going.
Grab him, just pull him up.
I know it's not.
And then alt it down.
Oh yeah, you're right. Hey, there we go. Boom. Okay, here we go. Back in action. Let's go. All right. So Isai, give us your thoughts on the game.
I mean, overall, I thought it was a good game. It was obviously it's the first. It's a time to test out strategies, time to hopefully test out some new players and make sure that everyone's kind of fitting in well. We're going against an opposition that's, I mean, the best, right? One of the best in the league, if not the best. So I think the result was fair. I do believe Atlanta could have done a little bit better, maybe push a little bit more on the first half. I know that right now you're probably testing the waters. You don't want to give a lot of room for them to score on you on the first half. So we did well holding them off with just one. Again, good game, but I do feel like it was lacking some energy. And I know I mentioned that to you earlier that I did want to see some of the players kind of pushing a little bit more. On the second half, they got to press a little bit higher, and I think that helped hold them off a little bit more and created some chances for us. We weren't able to score, but it was a good game. It was an enjoyable game to watch, and I'm excited to see what Atlanta has for the rest of the season.
Yeah, because I mean, some people might scoff at is it an enjoyable game to watch? But it is. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where this type of game, the second half did bring a lot more entertainment value.
Yeah,
like we have to be actually cognizant of that, because there were moments where we had the ability to be able to break down this cup-winning team that basically has been world beaters, and no team in the playoffs except for us were able to beat them last playoffs. So this is a club that's very, very good with very little turnover, and Atl United, we have some new faces in here, and Thiago Mata wasn't in there the entire preseason, and yeah, I mean, in terms of anybody or any sort of like things that you saw that brings more encouragement in kind of what you were saying, like what makes you encouraged?
I mean, to your point, right? I think you said something really, really cool just now around how Columbus is a pretty complete team that hasn't had a lot of turnover. With new faces, with new players, there's always a little bit of room for improvement and trying to get comfortable and understanding your teammates. And that's kind of one of those things that makes me hopeful, right? When it comes to specific players, I mean, you got individuals like Almada, who is, playing at a pretty high level. Giacomakis, I believe, is also doing really well. They both had chances this on the second half. So those things kind of open up, hopefully gives you a little bit of spirits around it. But again, it's just around whether they can get comfortable or not, right? That's going to be the biggest thing. Most teams that play really well consistently is teams that don't have a lot of turnover and have a really, really solid either defensive line or midfield line. I don't think we have found our footing just yet, but we got some time. Got some time to find it, and I believe we're gonna do okay. We're gonna do pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people prognosticate that we're up there on the teams in the East.
Right.
I think the difficulty is that there are a lot of good teams in the East, and we will be up against it for sure, especially if we do not figure out our road form. We're pretty bad last season on the road, and many of these streams that were not of the home variety ended in some heartbreak for sure on these nights. And I mean, we really have to figure that out on the road, how to beat a team.
And I think one of the things, right, and going back to the whole energy piece, because I know it's the first game and usually you're not coming in hot. You don't want to have any injuries, so you want to be very cautious whenever you do certain plays. But I feel like that's kind of missing when we're on the road, right? I think the fan base here in Atlanta, you have a stadium that's essentially full of Atlanta United fans, everyone's screaming, kind of pushing you on. It helps a lot. So being on the road and not having that energy from the fan base is probably something that doesn't help. But they got to find energy somehow. They gotta figure out, how can we keep pushing? How can we keep attacking? There were many times where the ball was moving between maybe two Atlanta United players and they just let it go by, hoping that someone else was going to grab it. So it's those little instances, right? We say, well, they might be saving some energy. That's fair, but you got some subs. You gotta push through. You gotta not just stand around too much and try to seek that ball, because that's really what's going to help you out. You're going to have the other team make a lot of errors, and you can capitalize on that. But the energy is a pretty big factor, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, fitness levels aren't there quite yet. I think, the second half we actually showed more energy than the crew, and we are, I think, probably. I'm thankful of Pineda and the strategy that was apparently said that they worked the team a lot harder for that preseason match, the last preseason match before this one, before the season started, and it was a preseason full of away matches that we were trying to figure out how to win on the road, and pretty much undefeated up until the last match, where things didn't really quite go as well. In the second half, where we conceded 2 penalties, but in this match, how did you find Braguzan? And obviously the talking point going into the match is this: it's the positional battle between Braguzan and Josh Cohen, and Braguzan starts.
And AJ, I can't lie to you. You kind of know how I feel about Guzan. I think he's giving us a lot of great seasons, but I just want someone that gives a little bit more, right? Someone with with some youth that maybe has some creativity, that's able to really secure that ball, because I think that's what's somewhat missing from Gusana. He's got great reflexes. He's able to, and I mean, I can't. Really
I wouldn't say he's got great reflexes, but yeah, that's.
Well, I mean, with that penalty, AJ, we can't really argue with that, right? I mean,
savable penalty.
Savable
penalty. Yep.
It was kind of a poor taken penalty.
Yeah.
But regardless, I mean, the man pulled it off at the end.
Yeah.
But I am looking
that
forward
we give him credit for sure. He definitely did it.
Right, but we are looking for someone, I think, that maybe brings something else to that goal, right? Because right now it always feels very average with Gusan, right? It's unfortunate because like I said, he's done what he's needed to do with Atlanta United. But this time, we got to do something else with it. I don't know that there's going to be a lot of room for transition. So if we are going to try to integrate a different goalkeeper, I'd say go ahead and do it now. Start testing him out, start putting him out there. This was the first game, so maybe you didn't want to do that, but I'm hoping that we'll see someone else on the goal in the next few games or so.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no doubt it's going to happen. It was always just the question of who's actually going to start this first match, and I think there is a little bit of sentiment to it. He is the team captain. It is his spot to lose to some degree, and I mean, he wasn't terribly at fault for the first goal. He did save a penalty. Right. It's not maybe the optics, quite yet for the time to make the switch, but I think there's not really, if you don't make the switch now, I mean, on a moment where basically we lost this match, that's everyone's place is up for grabs then.
No, I understand, and I completely agree with you, right? I think with that sort of stuff, I mean, you can't baby a switch like that. You just got to say, let's go ahead and do it. We're at the beginning of the season, so if any errors are going to happen, we'll still have a lot of time to kind of come back from that. But it's got to be done soon. I'm sure there's a lot of individuals out there who feel like Busan has earned his spot and he keeps earning it year after year. But I just think there's always room for improvement, and if we're switching every single other player out, but somehow we're not doing anything with that goal, that's probably one of those issues that we're not addressing, and I think we got to jump into it.
Yeah, indeed. So Bryant Lee in the comments in the chat, live chat anyway, says that I think we went with Brad because the experience. I think our new goalkeeper should start. I mean, it's echoing the sentiments, and I mean, okay, there was maybe the thought that it was going to snow tonight or this afternoon in Columbus, and it didn't quite get to those levels of calamity in terms of weather, which is good. But obviously we have played in snow before. We won 6-1, and it wasn't that bad of a situation when we did play in snow. You almost wish that we did, because obviously that type of scoreline and that type of that type of experience in the snow, even though no one on the team, player-wise and coach-wise, was there, except for Brad Guzan. Actually, no, he didn't even come in until later on in the season. So, literally no one on the team has experienced that. But, it's just juju. It's just pure juju at that point. But, I mean, in terms of, I think any sort of, other talking point for you, what's your final thoughts on this match?
I mean, again, it's kind of hard to say that there was a lot of wrong with this, because we were playing a great team, right? And the scoreline was pretty good. It'd be something else if it had been like 4-0 or 3-0 or whatever, or if we had won. I mean, we would have had a lot of great thoughts here, but it's just it's a pretty average start, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's hopefully this is going to be a good game for them to kind of go back to the locker room and reflect a lot on what else can we improve on. I mean, obviously you were challenging a team that was sitting number one last year, and so now this was a good telling, right, as to how your season is going to look like, but you still got to make some changes. And so, last thoughts would be I'm really hopeful that Atlanta United looks at this and says, all right, well, let's start testing out some of the other things that we want to test out, because if so far what we've been doing hasn't been working out and we're still bringing in some of the similar tactics from last year to this year, I think we gotta do something else.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's the style of play is not drastically changed,
Right.
and essentially we're a team that is still trying to play possession in a place that we have no business playing possession. It's I think later on in the match when we took a little bit more of a foothold, I think it was because we pressed a little higher with more energy, with declining energy levels from Columbus, and I think as the season goes on, you can't really bank on that as much per se. We
didn't really talk about it, AJ, right? But that midfielder is just not looking too solid, and I think that's part of it. Like, if you're expecting to be a possession team and you're expecting to move the ball from the bottom to the top in small increments, then there's gotta be something else done in that midfield so that you're able to adjust changes or carry the ball up in a more effective way, because I think that's where we're losing it, right? There were a couple of errors where some players, instead of moving the balls through the wings, they just moved them through the middle, and we ended up losing them because it was just a lot more packed there, and we don't have the talent, I think.
In terms of the ability to be able to play through the lines, unfortunately we have to go wide a lot more, and that is the difficulty, is that we are not I think talented enough on the ball quite yet,
Right.
and certainly not a better midfield than Aiden Morris and Darlington Nagby, who all-timer in MLS, and I think against some other midfields in the league, yes, we might be able to impose ourselves a little bit more, but I think game plan wise, it's a bit of leaving to be desired when it's the same old. Like like the fact is that we didn't put the ball in the back of the net again on the road in Columbus, and it's the toughest assignment, but things haven't changed so much. I think we've seen, yes, the scoreline does say it's a little bit better, but it actually could have been a lot worse, because I think we were lucky. I think 9 times out of 10, Cucho Hernandez puts in a better penalty than that, and as well, you have just that first half where we could have gotten scored on maybe 2 or 3 times, and luckily it was only 1. We made it a lot more interesting than probably it deserved to be. Mm-hmm. But
we'll see how it goes. It's the first one of the season,
it is.
And there's a lot of room, AJ. There's a lot of room for that.
Indeed. But Isai, appreciate the time, man, and I will talk to you later.
All right, man. Well, let me pass on to someone else, because I'm sure someone else might have some thoughts around it.
Indeed. But so, okay, here we go. Let's go.
I'm here, and I guess I'll tell you what you want to hear, I suppose.
What do we want to hear? What do you think I want to hear?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I like Brad Guzan as a
I think the sound's going out. I don't know why.
Oh, dear. Let me back up. Let me
Yes.
see if I can get back towards the Wi-Fi integration over here.
There
How's
we go.
this?
Oh, that's better. Yeah. There we go. All right.
Okay.
But go on.
So, hello, all.
Yeah.
How are you? I hope you're good. AJ, what do you think about the game?
I already gave my thoughts at the top of the show, so
Okay.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I wasn't phoning in. I apologize. So I'll give you my take. Columbus, good team, good defense, good offense. Losing some strong players of ours. I can see, losing this one. That I was talking with Mike, friend of the channel, that I think this was a good loss, honestly. That said, I don't love Guzan. I mean, love him as a veteran presence, but hold on. Need to drink some. I love him as a veteran presence, but yeah, sorry. That's just promotional value.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like I would prefer to have somebody a bit more agile, just younger. That might be ageism. I'm not an analyst, but that's my half-baked take so far. How are you guys doing?
So, in terms of, there was a moment where Brad Guzan, he came out and headed out a ball, and, it was definitely a heart-and-mouth moment because he didn't backpedal fast enough, probably, to stop, I think, fairly if it wasn't offside, because it was ultimately judged offside, but, his handball, or very, very close to a possible handball, would have gotten him sent off. And, as a goalkeeper, that's the last thing that you want to do, is to get sent off, because that's putting your team in a very tough bind when you have to replace and use one of the subs for a goalkeeper. Even though we were already really short in this match. But, that's, the substitutions weren't really going to be that inspiring anyway. We had a very short bench. But, this is a moment where Guzan didn't cover himself in glory, but he got lucky, and we came away with it unscathed. But
true. It's not unscathed, but, you know, less scathed than we could have otherwise been, I suppose.
Right. But, it's kind of more... Okay, you have the save penalty, you have some heart and mouth moments. It's still ultimately, we lose from letting a goal in. And, I think a lot of people would probably clamor for that position change to the new goalkeeper. But, goalkeeper talk aside, what's your general consensus and feeling for the season? What's that? What's that like? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it neutral? How are you feeling?
I feel like it's positive. I could just be an optimist, but I feel like with the just pedigree of the team and with the potential trade value of Almada and Giakoumakis sticking around for a while, I feel like we've got a young enough squad that we can build, but I do have a player like an Almada. I think it's important to start building and getting people around Giakoumakis that can help support him in the striker role. Having been a fan since, the inception of the team, and seeing people like Almiron and Martinez and like that 1-2 punch and really seeing how that can click, I think Atlanta is kind of clamoring to get something like that back, especially in a city that really can only rely on the baseball team to bring championships home. And that's a little far and few in between. I'm going to probably generate some heat from here, but I think there's a little bit left to be desired from Atlanta sports generally. Like the Falcons have.
I don't think you're saying anything new, unfortunately, man. It's definitely Atlanta fans know how mediocre the teams are, and
I want for United to be one of those bastions that Atlanta fandom can kind of rally behind, but that they can rally behind a team that actually wins championships, not just gets to the divisional round or, the next round right before the championships. Like, we need a winning squad. And I think realistically, the closest shot that we have outside of the maybe Braves out of the next 2, 3, 4 years is United. And I think if they can build a squad around Giakoumakis and, maybe get some more movement between the transition from the defense to the midfield to the actually attacking, the attacking 3, I suppose, maybe 4. That's sort of like, that's what I want, and we had that with other players like Almiron and Almada, but I'm not sure that we're always going to get that golden ticket to have that literal marquee player to kind of bolster the team. Like, I would prefer just a strong defending 3 midfield through to the attackers personally. But this is a long rant, and I don't know that we really have the time, but I appreciate the airspace.
Yeah, no, for sure, obvious. But and so in the chat here, the ATL guy says Len is too far tucked inside half the time and jogs back for whatever reason. Also, I think Wiley was pushed too far up the fields. Yeah, I think the fullback positions were a little bit of a thing of something that we can work on, I think. Lennon obviously usually a little bit more of the player that is out wide, able to provide that width to be able to put it across. And the crosses tonight or today really weren't too much to write home about. There were a lot of overcooked ones, or some from corners that were little bits underweighted. But as well, Wiley, there were some moments, especially for a goal. Cucho Hernandez is left all alone at the back post. Wiley probably a little bit more ball watching, gets he collapses into the box there to try to maybe prevent the numbers from being able to do anything in the middle of the box. But that back post always seems to be our Achilles. And whether it's Sean Da Silva, whether it's another player, you just cannot leave Cucho Hernandez completely alone at the back post. And, one of the most dangerous strikers in the league to just have a tap-in, essentially. It's criminal. And, so it's something that pops up time and time again, continues to happen. And, we need to figure it out. We need to figure out how to keep our guys switched on for 90 minutes, because at the end of the day, it's one goal. This one goal was the difference. And it's
it was a quality loss, and I don't know that it was necessarily on Guzan. Like, I give him a lot of heat, but I give him heat because he's older than me, and I just feel like to be on the side of a winning squad, it might be pertinent to look into a keeper that, is on the south side of 25. You know?
Well, that's the thing too. Our new keeper is here, and it's just a matter of sentiment, probably. That's he didn't start in this first match because the team captain, all that. But ATL guy in the live chat also mentioned baseball is just difficult to win championships in. Needed some luck and timing in that. 100%. Like the Braves, they were in the playoffs for 14 straight years. We've been in the playoffs as well for seven straight years of winning the East.
And a successful team. They've made it to the postseason over like the last 25 years. They've maybe missed 4 years. They're a good team. Yeah. They're a good.
And that's how difficult it is to win in Major League Baseball. But as well in MLS, the parity is also very, very rife. It's no team really goes back to back, and for that, the league is, I think, successful in. But
true.
What we want to do is to be that the Yankees of MLS. We want to be that team that is always in contention to win trophies, and it's hard. It's hard in this league, of course.
I'll say I'm spoiled. The team's inauguration, they won, and I was that's when I became a fan. Is not when they won, but because they became a team. Yeah. I'd been watching the Gladiators for so long, and the what was it? The affiliate. It was like a guerrilla team. I'm blanking on the name for the minute, but just as soon as Atlanta got an MLS team and the hype built up and just the magic of that and that inaugural season, I mean, I'm a fan for life. I'm from Chicago. I'm not a Fire fan. I'm an Atlanta fan, and it's just like seeing that 2017 squad was just incredible. And I might be spoiled to expect that level of competitiveness, but that's what I want as an Atlanta fan,
Of course, that's what we all want, but I think it's the sustainability and it's holding the team to a high enough standard, and that's been part of the issue. Is some fans, some of the front office, some of the, it's just they're allowing mediocrity to set in, and that's the death knell to competitiveness and to championship winning sides, and we're just not that at the moment. Obviously, this is one match, but it's been a symptom for years. We've been a team that's not been good for longer than we were a team that was actually good, and that's
but we've been a team since 2017 as well. Like, we've been a team for 7 years. So
yeah, exactly. And so the ATL guy said, thinking of the ATL Silverbacks, I think you're saying affiliate. Yeah, Silverbacks were never an affiliate, so I don't know if you meant the Silverbacks, but yeah, that's where it threw me off, because I'm like, yeah, the Silverbacks were never an affiliate. But in terms of ATL guy, he also mentions, is this a personnel thing or is this a manager thing? I mean, it's definitely, it's a recruitment and it's a coaching thing for sure. It's both. Basically, the team, personnel wise, hasn't been good enough.
Let me reply really quickly to ATL guy. I'm not sure if it's a manager thing or if it's a personnel thing. I don't really have too many problems with the manager right now. Personnel wise, again, like, I'm a 35-year-old dude who can't, run a mile and a half in 10 minutes. So, but that said, I'm not sure what type of thing it is, but I can pass it off to a guy that might have a better opinion. So
let's do that. But yeah, man, appreciate your time. Always good to see you.
Hey, thank you for having me on. Sorry I couldn't contribute more, but
nah, don't worry, man.
This is my.
All right.
Bye.
What's
going on?
Ellie, how are you, man?
I was gonna say I don't see.
On
camera, AJ.
No, it's never that. You'll never be able to see me unless I am also where you are. But I'm elusive. But the no. So Ellie, rather, give us your thoughts.
Man, I don't know what the previous thoughts have been. Mine were that it was a bit underwhelming to be the first game. I think I expected a little bit more of a fight in the team, but that's something that I've continuously said over the last maybe year and a half. But I think it's because usually when you love a soccer team, you kind of expect a little bit more from them. You want to see that fight that we saw for a good 10 minutes
between like minute 55 and 65, somewhere along, I think, like, that timeline. But that's the kind of pushing from a team that you want to see. And I don't know that I saw that in the first half at all, really. We saw that a little bit more in the second half, and it's a good way to end. It's a good way to say, like, that's how we're going into the next game with that level of a fight. But overall, it's not what I expected from the first game, from a team that you expect a lot from because of just how we've started. But also not the worst game, right? It's against Columbus. How much can you really do? So
yeah, it was always the toughest assignment for sure. Being away at the reigning champs, but I mean, that excuse aside, it is something that it's been a symptom of Atlanta United for quite a while now. I just mentioned that we've been mediocre for longer than we've actually been a good team. And how does that set in? It's because there's not maybe accountability for the winning culture as much as there should be. You also being a fan of Real Madrid, I think, is pertinent here. Where, I think it's very important to build that winning culture, to build a team that expects to win. And I don't think we go into a place here expecting to win. Like, how do you think we can build that culture?
Well, you were asking previously, right? Like, what needs to happen here? Is it a personnel change? Is it a coach change? I mean, is it the players? Is it like, what is it, right? Like the front office, it's a combination of everything. You can't really build a culture around a team without having everybody be on the same, on board, be on the same side, knowing that everybody's fighting the same fight in the field, outside of the field, the physios, the front office, the changes that you're making, how you're approaching it, the coach, etc. Everybody has to be on the same side and want the same thing. And it's funny because Mike and Isai were just chatting a little bit offline that we always bring up, per se, the golden years, really how the franchise started and really, the first couple of seasons. And we always kind of compare it to that, right? Like, maybe it's a little bit unfair, but at the same time, that's what we got from the first couple of years. That's what we got. Like, hey, this is how we're starting the franchise off. These are the expectations that we're setting. And I think a lot of people got really hyped about that. And fair enough, right? Like, that's what you want to see from a team that's just coming up. And that's what you hope that you're going to maintain. And so that's the expectation that was level set with everybody that's, an Atlanta United fan now. So I think it's hard not to go back and compare to those years, because that's kind of the expectation that we were set up with. Right? You don't have to win every season, but at least you have a team with enough depth that's going to go out there and fight pretty much for the ball every game. That's going to be fun to watch. That they're going to be out there putting, claw everywhere, like just fighting for a spot in the team. And that's something that we're just not seeing now. But again, like, that's a symptom of everything that's happening in the front office, everything that's happening with the players. Maybe some players that, have been there a little bit longer than they should. Maybe some players that are too new. It's a combination of a lot of different things. But you can't have a winning mentality without aligning all of those different outside things outside of the field and making sure that that's all that everybody wants, right? Like that. Just win, or to provide at least, not necessarily in the field, like a 1-0, 3-0, whatever you want, but at least to win for the fans, to put something out there that's something we're proud of. We knew the team went out there, they give it their best. They went against, even Columbus, and we use that as an excuse, right? Like, the best team. But if we want to also be the best team in the season or, this year, then we have to be able to come in and put up with those challenges. So, just symptom of everything, man. I think everything needs to change slowly. I think it's something that doesn't change in a year. There are a lot of teams out there that will prove that, right? You can't just go in and change the coach and then expect that it's got to be fluid all of a sudden. But I think it's something that we can get to slowly with everybody being at least on the same page.
Right.
And the fans demand it, so.
Right, and it's great points, man. It's basically, though, we're that type of club that I don't know if the fans have enough patience for what's been going on, and I think they're right. I think most of the fans not having enough patience is of, they have viable reasons. I mean, it's there's been a lot of turnover for the casual fan. There's been a lot of I think personnel changes that have been perplexing, signings that really have not worked out, players on higher wages that we can't get rid of, and yeah, on a macro scale, the hype has been dwindling in every season, when it should be a period of growth. When it's a new team, you have the first 2 years that everyone talks about, loves to talk about, but I want to harp on the recent years where we're not doing the right things and there's not enough accountability, and I think, yes, now we have a new CEO, of course, in Garth Lagerwey. He's been in here at the Perch for a little bit of time now to be able to help us make some good changes. But it's still imperfect, which no one's expecting perfection, but it is to a degree where I think people want to see progression. They want to see us be able to kind of make things better than what they were. That's like the issues that we have. They don't want to see the same issues over and over, and unfortunately, yeah, we see a lot of that. But let's get into the chat again. Omar GS says, losing to the champs 1-0, not too bad, especially changes were made and they looked better in the second half, of course. You only have so many characters for the headline of the video. So yeah, obviously us saying Atlanta United look bad in Columbus, but Goose makes or saves a pen. I should actually change that. Actually, that does not make any sense. But hold up. But but yeah, and it's one of those things where remind me to use my own computer, because it is tough using somebody else's computer. But anyway, I mean, it's one of those things where we do look better in the second half, but we weren't able to get a goal. I mean, straight up, that is the crux of it.
Yeah,
like that's the important bit.
And I mean, like you said, that's sure we ended up a better second half, and that's, at least in my head, that's a good sign for what the next game might look like. But like you said, at the end of the day, we can play the next game at the same level, better hopefully, but still not score, and then it doesn't really matter much, right? At the end of the day, what counts is putting the ball in the back of the net. Even when you don't play the sexiest of football, then some people might call it more like the Mourinho style. What you want to do at the end of the day is make sure you have a good defense and make sure you're putting the ball in the back of the net. So if we start to see that next game, I think that's hopeful. Even if we don't see the most fun team, the most engaged team, what's going to matter is that we can take those chances and actually put it in the back of the net. And we didn't see it this time around, but first game, no chances to come, how that plays out.
Right. And while I agree with you to some degree, I definitely don't agree with you in the Mourinho aspect where
Also very
I know. No, I know why you mentioned him, but it's and Real Madrid isn't, like, I understand, like, you being a Real Madrid fan, like, I personally don't usually love watching Real Madrid play, because that's what they do. They do prioritize, the winning over the beautiful football, which I think you could do both, and that's the. They do rely a bit on, kind of individual ability and the aspects of, kind of playing a little bit more pragmatic, but
which we don't have here, right? Like,
I
mean, we don't have individual talent, so there's only so much we can bank on.
Yeah,
and we try to bank on having a very specific playing style that we can just plug different players into and hope that they'll take.
But that's also not the answer. I think you just got to have a flexible team. Just if the game's not working out, change tactics a little bit and hope that the players can also adjust to it, or make sure you have the players that know that they will be able to adjust to it, that are a little bit more flexible.
Right. But that's the difficulty in MLS is that the type of personnel that you can bring in isn't necessarily the most adaptable type of player, and if they are, they're probably not playing in MLS. And let's just be real. But let's keep reading the chat here. And thanks for sticking around, Ellie, for this. Lightning0491 mentions, not too mad at the loss. We dominated in the second half. Let's build on that next game. The ATL guy, I thought we should have lost by more than one. Absolutely. That we were lucky to not lose by more. Let's absolutely keep it 100.
I think that we were lucky not to get scored on. So, and that penalty, of course, that's...
Yeah, exactly. It's unlucky on Cucho Hernandez's part, but it's also, I mean, Bragazan, he makes a save. Like, we got to give him the props for that. Omar GS says, sure, Columbus had some chances that they should have scored, but they didn't. That's how the game goes. I mean, yeah, for sure. They should have scored, but we also, I wouldn't say we had a clear-cut chance. Would you?
Not really. I mean, I can think of one chance maybe that we got pretty excited about while watching the game. But I mean,
one chance in one chance in the entire game is not exactly something that I'm like,
exactly.
Where I'm like, you know what, man, I want to watch more of that.
No, we got a second chance off of that, but again, it's not ideal. Like, it's enough at the end of the day as well. If we're not being as efficient and we're not putting the ball in the back of the net after one or two chances, then we're turning into a numbers game, and we got to take the shots. If we're not taking the shots, we don't have a chance. So we'll see.
Absolutely.
If we're a little bit more to that.
Indeed.
I was hoping that was going to be a little bit more than it turned out to be.
Yeah.
I was expecting the play was coming in, but I don't know if he's going to have a curler soon, but I was kind of hoping to see that this game, and I didn't get to see it.
For sure. And so Michael's joining me on his sexy pillow couch thing behind me, and so it's a very precarious situation now. But hopefully, if he speaks, you can hear me and hear him. But yeah. So let's read more of the chat here. The ATL guy says, "I want to see an improvement each year, but I don't feel like I have seen it. I don't feel like Pineda is the guy that'll build a team to take us to the promised land." I mean, I think you're spot on. And as Michael waves the flag here, or Ellie, you can't see anything, but it's it's vibes here. But I mean, Pineda, I think we've known is that he is merely a guy that's, I think, maybe good enough to hold perch of an MLS job. Is he the guy to win us trophies? He hasn't proven it. He hasn't been that guy to show that cutting edge to be able to change within game, change within the season to put us over the top. I mean, I think we know he's a known quantity at this point, even though it's his first real gig. In terms of as a head coach, I think he's a good player coach. I think he still has a lot of room to grow to be a top level coach, and I think that much is obvious. The ATO guy also says the rules too restrictive on the players you can bring in. Absolutely, I mean it's 100% that. The growth of the league. Like I ranted on one of the other episodes of Five Stripe Weekly, we, like the league and the club are basically shooting themselves in the foot by the owners not voting for the things that they that could actually grow the league, and then you have the levels of the players that's yeah, you see now that even Miami are struggling with it's you have top level players, but the depth is so thin that I mean, is it sustainable for an entire season? They're just not. It's people I think are right to predict that Inter Miami are not going to win everything. They just do not have the type of team to be that deep, to always be playing for every single trophy. But Michael, you have some thoughts? You have some other thoughts that we should hear?
No, but there are 2 more guests that are going to come on. That was what I want to tell you about.
Okay, cool.
So Niall's on next, and our friend Drew wants to come on after that.
Let's do it. So, all right, let's bring in Drew and then Niall. Niall first. Okay, all right. Let's bring on Niall. But Ellie, thank you so much, man.
No,
Take it
thank you
easy.
guys. Like always, bye.
Indeed. See ya. Okay, so Omar GS says we got some good matches coming up. Let's see how the team improves. Agreed. I mean, we have some winnable matches. No one would have said this first match was winnable. Let's just be real. Let's just be honest. Not the game that you would put all your money on. Because I think, hey, I'm not a betting man, but if you really want to put your money where your mouth is, I think that's where you do it. And that's how you show that okay, if you think that LA United can win, would you put your money on this game? Right? I would not have. This is not the game that I would have said, hey, I would have probably, if I were a betting man and I was valuing that money that was going out, I would say, hey, I'd probably put my money on Columbus. Heart and mind say 2 different things, obviously, but obviously it's a tough thing. I would never bet against Atl Utd in that sense, but yeah. So Niall, come on in, and but yes, we obviously have started the new season, and if you have not joined us on our Patreon, definitely join us on our Patreon. We've got a lot of new fun things that we will be incorporating in this season, so definitely become a part. And cheers to Michael for the bevy. He's a legend. Spindrift, always tasty. But if you're watching Spindrift, throw your boys some sponsorship. But yeah. So Niall, whenever you want to come on in. But
he said he's on his way.
Awesome. But I need to make sure how to change this, but it does not change.
What's the change?
Changing the title of the stream. Probably only after the fact, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Oh, well. But, yeah, I had some typos in there. Forgive them, guys. I've had a drink or 2.
It's a holiday.
It's a holiday, guys. It's a Saturday. I mean, what you want me to do? It's
Atlanta United's back, everybody.
Exactly. Were you not drinking?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're probably drinking after this because it's that type of match. But you drink when you win, you drink when you lose, but you definitely drink when you lose. That's
you drink what you can, you drink what you're able, but when you drink with me, then you'll be under the table.
Ooh, I like that. Always love those sayings. Sounds very Irish.
Probably.
But, which, it's one of those. But anyway, so, I mean, how are you guys feeling? In terms of the temperature of the season, does this deter you from your expectations that you may have had going into the season? I mean, I think both Michael and I, we predicted the team to finish 5th. This doesn't probably derail us from doing that. But it's a long and forgiving MLS season. But yeah, I think the crux of it is still we need to figure out how to win on the road, and this is the second half gives a little bit of encouragement in that regard. But yeah, I think the you can say tale of two halves all you want, but you cannot have that type of first half very often and expect to win on the road. Like you have to have like a drastic second half in which you actually score goals, which we weren't able to do. We need to be able to score on the road, and we have not done that in Columbus in some time. Did we score in that first match? No, I don't think we did. Did we score in the third game? No. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad on the road in Columbus right now. They're good, which affects that, but yeah, Ohio is a little bit of a house of horrors just in general. Omar GS says
in the playoffs against them at home at their house.
Yeah. Omar GS says, why the season just started and why don't we have a game until the 9th? MLS will MLS. Yeah, it's not even an international break. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But yep, that's why I think you saw the team play a little bit longer as well, for numerous reasons. But yeah, one of them being a short bench, and the other one being that the starters were our best chance to win. And yeah, I mean, I think when Tyler Wolf and Jay Fortune came on, I mean, there was some energy levels that kind of helped us win that second half to a degree of, like, maybe not win, but keep it level, where we kept a clean sheet in the second half. But yeah, all right. So Drew is up, and one of our very high Patreon members. Much love to you, Drew. Let me get you a little closer to where your face completely shows here, or that. Yep, up to you. Yep. Yeah. Perfect. Sweet. Cheers. But yeah, no, this is on my level now, where my big ass head is somehow not the biggest head. Anyway, so anyway, man, Drew, let us know your thoughts.
It was really rough that first half. I was very worried because they were pressing down that Lennon side, and they kind of pinned us back there. We weren't able to get any pressure on them. And then you notice in the second half, we kind of adjusted and started spreading the field more, not trying to build out the back as much. And it kind of opened up space for us, which I think helped us out in the end, is something that's going to be an asset this year, being able to spread the field a little bit more. But we couldn't get any chances. We would have these spells of looking like we could get something out of this game, and then the final ball would just fail us. And it was kind of frustrating to see that, but to see that we were able to go to Columbus and then dominate that second half, it's a little bit promising for me. I think it's something to build off of, honestly, but we can't get a result in Columbus, and it sucks.
Yeah, it's great points, man. It's basically we were being targeted on our right. It's where we cannot figure out in game sometimes how to adjust, and it's I mean, Lennon did stay, I think, a little bit more in the interior to kind of mitigate a little bit of that. I think it's the problem when you have two fullbacks that want to bomb forward, that want to play in the attack, and it's difficult. We don't have that balance maybe to and Lennon is that player probably that's a little bit more, I think, disciplined to be able to stay back and go forward when necessary. but not enough. And I think it's that we get killed on our right, and then it opens up our back post on our left, and that's how they score. Is because they were able to pretty much overload our right side, and we somehow leave their leading scorer completely open on the back post. It cannot happen. And that's unforgivable. And
it's just tough to see. Now, I do like how our back line looked. We looked a lot stronger back there. I didn't feel as worried on the counter whenever they'd counter in the second half. I was like, okay, there's a chance that definitely if they got that last year, it would have been the back of our net. Gregerson, he has a lot more pace than I thought, and that's very good to see. Williams looked pretty solid back there. And even on the pen, I don't see too much in that. I saw a good shoulder-to-shoulder tackle that was just a smaller man getting bullied off the ball there. So I'm glad Goose got the stop there and kept us with a 1-0 score line there. So
no, I mean, it was definitely it was a necessary and very crucial save that he made to keep us in the game. Inexplicable, because it's been pretty much 7 plus now 8 years that we've had Guzan, and he's never made a penalty save. And what a time to do it. It's and I mean, it's like in terms of the positional battle, I think we talked about it in the season preview a little bit, but remind me what you initially thought should have happened. Was it Cohen or was it Guzan that should have started this match?
Oh, it was Cohen, hands down. I thought that the team was going to give it to Goose, but I would have chose Cohen because he just seems like the more quality goalie. And it's nothing on Guzan. It's nothing. It's just his age is starting to show, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's that. I mean, it's, Cohen, well, maybe he hasn't hit the heights of, say, a Brad Guzan on a national team level, on a Premier League level. I think, like you're saying, it's to a point where, I mean, it's been coming for a while, and sad to say, but it is, he's our longest team captain in our history, but it's like Arsene Wenger at Arsenal. It's like, maybe like Tim Duncan on the San Antonio Spurs. It's like, that type of thing where it's time sometimes.
It's Manuel Neuer at Bayern right now.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that. It's, time waits for no one. And it's essentially, it's tough. Like, Guzan, I mean, I think, all the social media videos show a really strong character, a guy who is lovable and, couldn't be a better guy. It's just, you hate to see all the vitriol against Guzan. I think there's a delineation in what we're talking about. We're not ragging on the person. We're ragging on, essentially, him, the player, is, we all know. It's been passed. And if the casual fan kind of realizes that as well, it's... I think the eyes don't deceive in that sense. But Omar GS says, players always get better when their contract is up. Haha. Interesting. I mean, I agree. But, interesting what you were referring to. I'm not sure which player, but... maybe Guzan? Possibly. I don't know. But, let us know in those comments below. But, in terms of this match and how it maybe affects your optimism or not for the season, how are you feeling about the season after this match?
First half, I would have said, oh no, we're a lot worse than we thought. Second half, I go, okay, we came into Columbus, we started out playing them. That gives me a lot more hope to where I was, more toward where I was thinking at the beginning of the season of what we had, more of a third, fourth place finish, and taking a shot at the playoffs. And that's not a bad position to be in. You look at Columbus last year, that's where they were sitting when they won. That, if you can get hot at the right time, it's everything in like a competitive league.
Yeah, it's a great point, because basically, Columbus wasn't entirely pulling up trees, and I think they were able to make the right decisions personnel-wise, and especially when you have a coach that is at the level of Wilfred Nancy, it's you're going to be able to see what things you need, and after that you make the adjustments and you make a run. There it is, another trophy in the cabinet. I believe 2 in 3 years. It's not too shabby, and or 2 in 4 years, because I believe they won in 2020. But either way, it's this is a blueprint, and that's the thing, is we have that looming thing over our heads with Thiago Almada. Is he going to last the entire season? Likely not. How do we replace him in season like Columbus Crew did with Zalarian and Rossi? And those are going to be big talking points throughout the season. But Almada in this match, did you find that he looked like a player that didn't join us in preseason?
Yeah, he looked like a step behind, honestly. And you could see as the game went on, you started to see more of what Almada was last year, and you were going, okay, it's just a little bit of rust on there. I think he'll be fine. I did like, honestly, the entire team's chemistry building up through this game. You could start to see Lee starting to grow more into the game. He started to make runs and passes that we haven't really seen from a 6 from us for a while. You started to see the ball over the top, the making the run into the box and trying to put a cross in from his position. That's something we haven't had in a while. So it's good to see something like that. Fortune's coming in and kind of making more of an impact off the bench. That was great to see. So there's some positives to look at this match, even though it's a tough loss. I'm not calling this season a write-off after this first loss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think no one really is. I think people are just lamenting that, maybe not as much has really changed in terms of the playing style and generally how we look on the road. But it's one game, and yes, though, we did spend the entire preseason trying to mitigate these issues. Maybe, it takes a little bit more time, but I think it's also, I don't know, I think we've had a lot of time with Pineda on the road. Like, it might be a thing where some new ideas might need to come in, but, it's not like he's going to be, like, that change is going to happen anytime soon. So, I think, this season is still Pineda's. So we probably might as well get used to it to some degree. Doesn't mean we can't criticize. It doesn't mean we can't, point out that, okay, this is how we probably can improve if we see that there are areas for improvement. But, I think for you then, Drew, like, were there moments that you feel like we can carry to other matches that, okay, if we had that final ball, like, we score, we have a different scenario, the game states are different, we probably win against a lesser team?
Oh, definitely. Honestly, that entire second half showed me a lot more of what I wanted to see. Is we didn't feel afraid on the road, and we looked afraid sometimes last season on the road. We went into Columbus, a place that we were terrible at last year, and we controlled the game, and that's a big thing going into the rest of the season. We didn't get the result. We didn't get a goal. We didn't really even have that many chances, but we looked like if that final ball or that final pass gets there, we'll be fine. And that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. So let's get into the chat. ATL guy says Guzan has been cooked since 2020. I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been... Yeah, there's been moments, but I think large in part, the shot-stopping ability has waned for some time now. Let's see. Offense Mumulelefe. I totally butchered that. I'm so sorry. But he says Almada deserves better. Interesting. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's a very interesting comment. I'm trying to decipher really kind of what you mean. I mean, obviously, yes, he could go to Europe where he plays on, a Champions League level. I think he's that talented. But is he there right now? Obviously not. And, I think he's got a little bit more to show because obviously the type of offers that Atlanta United wanted to see did not come to fruition in the off season. And if they did, he'd be gone. So, it's I think it's a little bit part and fold that the modern 10 doesn't really quite exist anymore in terms of being a guy that has a free role and doesn't have to track back, have as many defensive responsibilities. Like, that doesn't really happen. It's more roaming eights. It's more players that do it on both sides of the pitch. And Almada, he does a bit of that, but he obviously has some growth that he can do. And I think it's twofold. It's his price point that we want to see, and yeah, that bit about him tracking back is still very important because you don't want a liability on the pitch. Like, if you have someone that can't necessarily kind of on a very elite level be a person that doesn't lose you the match. Like, that's important. Like, anybody that is a liability on the pitch, you only are as strong as your weakest player. And, even if he's your playmaker and he might be able to help score you a goal or two, like, if he, lets in one or two, it's a break even. If he can stay on the pitch. But yeah. Next comment comes from Connor Thompson. Only gave up one bad, but it wasn't a traditional 4-0 loss. I mean, yes, we will take the non-drubbing every day. But, yeah, I mean, how do you feel about those, very tongue-in-cheek comments about where people are like, well, yeah, when we've lost 4-0, we have gone on to win the cup. It's obviously very tongue-in-cheek, but, what are your thoughts on that? It's like, well, if we have lost 4-0 tonight, I mean, it bodes well, right?
I don't know. I can't really say anything because if we lose in that sort of fashion, everybody's piling on the team, everybody's down, and with a 1-0 loss, okay, it's something that you can go, okay, it was a tough loss, but we were in the game. I don't know. It sucks to see comments like that, but I guess I understand it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's like, I think from an optics standpoint, like, I don't want to see a 4-0. Like, it's yeah, the goal difference and all that doesn't really matter too much in MLS, but it is still, I think, from a casual standpoint, a casual fan standpoint, if they see that, they're like, oh no, like, oh, we suck this year. I don't want to go to the game. Like, it's important unfortunately. And yeah, it's I think, you know, us as the diehards, we kind of maybe see a different part of the team that not everyone does, and so we are a little bit more forgiving. But yeah, the larger part, the other say 30,000 or maybe even 20,000 that come to the games, that matters to them. They don't they don't like seeing 4-0s, you know, on the to the bad. But yeah, Drew, any final thoughts on this match?
Let's take what we learned from the second half and build it into our next match, and hope we have a good one at home, and let's go from there.
Indeed. Yeah, we've got some things to build on, and yeah, it's growth. It's a long MLS season, so yeah, absolutely fair points. And yeah, Drew, thank you as always. Much love to you. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Thank you for having me.
Always. See ya. All right, so Niall, come on in if you're around. But yeah, so you know, we'll get to the wheel very shortly here. We brought that back. You got a little tease of it in the beginning of the show. But yeah, if you haven't already, do us the solids and hit that like button. It really does help us. Algorithm and whatnot. Also share this video because it really does help. We need the yeah, basically, if you guys are enjoying it, we want you guys to share the love. So definitely join us out there. Get us out there to your friends and family, and you know, definitely let other people know about the stream. So but yeah, Niall Faruqi, our venerable social media correspondent, definitely come on in. But I mean, guys, it's an auspicious start to the season, but you know, we kind of start this way, don't we? Like, that's just how our seasons normally go. We lose the first game. It's really not that surprising, unfortunately. But now, yes, if you could adjust just slightly further back, maybe just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
I mean, there we go. Nice. There we go. Hey, very nice. Great success. But yeah, so Niall, give us your thoughts on this match.
It's weird, right? Because like it was a loss, but for me, I don't think it was the worst possible outcome, because I think for me, we all knew that Columbus was going to be a tough match, right? The first half was obviously pretty. It was as crappy as you could go, and you only thought that, man, things were probably going to get worse from there. But I thought in the second half, the team really did much better. I think that they were in all departments better than Columbus in the second half. It's just that final execution was missing, and I think that's something that comes with, I think, time and more chemistry together. So I mean, definitely not the result that the team wanted, but I think there were also some signs of encouragement that you can take, especially when you're playing against the champions.
Yeah, no, it's as formidable as a team gets in this league, obviously, and yeah, you know, we had it up against us, but yeah, we got a little lucky at some points. We were able to kind of batten down the hatches in some degrees as well, so that we mitigated the losses. But yeah, I mean, where did you stand on the goalkeeper battle, especially for this first match? Who did you think should have started, and who did you think the team was going to start? Might be the same person.
Yeah, for me, I thought the team was going to start Guzan, and I think that they should have started Guzan, because for me, like, as much as, you know, people may think that Josh Cohen is talented, he has to win that job. You're not just gonna take it from Brad Guzan automatically. And I thought that Guzan had a decent match, actually. There were times where maybe he was not as secure with the ball, with his saving when he was saving shots, but also at the same time he did save a penalty kick, which is something that I definitely was not expecting coming from him. But that penalty kick save, I think, definitely helped propel the team to get some confidence, and it's what I think turned the second half around a bit in Atlanta's sort of momentum. So I definitely think that, like, there were times where there were definitely worries, especially with the time where he could have been sent off, but with the offside call. But I think for me, I thought he did pretty decently, better than I expected, honestly.
Right, and those are those lucky moments. Yeah, if he wasn't offside, he's off, and yeah, that's an even dicier situation, especially on the road. Yeah, it probably would have been a 4-0, at least, probably even, because 10 men, away on the road. Ooh, I shudder. But yeah, it's for the encouraging moments in the second half, were there some certain plays that's kind of brought you some moments of I guess optimism for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think in the second half, for example, the midfield was better, I think, than the first half. I think, for example, Luis originally he struggled in the first half, but I think he came into his own a bit in the second half. He made some good passes forward, and I think that he was finding his feet. And then I think Atlanta on the wings was a lot more dangerous in the second half, and part of that was because, of course, Farsi had to come off, but you can only play what's in front of you. And I think Atlanta did a much better job in the second half, taking advantage on the wings. And I thought there were some good moments of transition on the wings too, especially with Saba and Shande and Lennon, especially making some good crosses into the box, but obviously couldn't execute. So
yeah, I mean, there was I think a moment that probably one of our better chances. I think Saba got to the byline, but it's the final ball. The final ball just is not there, and to be fair, it wasn't really there for most of the preseason. I think there were some moments where we had some team chemistry, and with Tiare finishing that team goal that we had against the Tampa Bay Rowdies. But yeah, I mean, us not being able to see really what happened against SKC. I think obviously that was more of a fatigue-based type of allowing 2 penalties, but I mean, we allow another penalty in this match, and hopefully that's not a continuation of a theme that will happen for a string of matches. But obviously, I think during 5 Star Weekly, we talked about kind of a confidence building thing that we probably needed to have done. And yeah, I mean, how much confidence can you have going into the reigning champs? But yeah, do you feel like the preparation in preseason was enough to get us ready for this first match?
I personally think it was. I think, first of all, I think it's important to understand that preseason is much different compared to an actual game. It's hard to really replicate that in-game experience. But I thought that the idea of playing mostly away was a smart idea, because for me that's something that the team has struggled to really accomplish, have success in, is in away environment. So I thought that was a smart decision to have those preseason games be played not necessarily at home. And then I think also preseason, I think for me, you got to saw some of the younger talents, I think, really step in. I think Nick Firmino, for example, is a player that I'd really keep my eye on. And I think a Johnny Fortune too. I think I heard Dax McCarty, for example, was saying that he was really high on Fortune this season, and that this could be a breakout season for him. So I mean, obviously there definitely were some headaches in preseason, especially with conceding penalty kicks and the loss to Sporting Kansas City. But I think for me as well, you got to see some of these new players, I think, start to get some footing.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, yeah. Jay Fortune is a player that I think if you were paying attention in, not you specifically, but the greater followers and, audience, in the end of last season and in the off season, I've pretty much been saying that Jay Fortune is a player that I think has a viable shot at being somebody that is a mainstay in our midfield for quite a while if he can continue to develop and also kind of get those other aspects of his game solidified. I think he's got a really bright future because it seems like he's a player that you can rely on late in matches where I mean, it wasn't Dax McCarty that was brought on. It was Jay Fortune that was brought on against the reigning champs. Like, that's... I mean, if you want some sort of, like, vote of confidence, that's your vote of confidence. Versus a 19-year veteran in Dax McCarty? Like, bruh. Like, that's... that is it. But it is also, we had a short bench. This made it difficult to have a difference maker to, really change the game. And I think that's ultimately where we lost it, is in this first half, on their goal scored, it's that. We were not good enough. We let them ghost into space so that they had an open net. And it's unforgivable. But... what were your thoughts on that goal?
I know some people were kind of like analyzing Guzan on that goal. For me, I don't think that's necessarily on Guzan. He made the initial save, but of course somebody has to be there as well to realize that Cucho is unmarked, and anytime Cucho is going to find any space in the box, he will score. So for me, I think just doing better to track down the cross and understand that Columbus was going to make a move there, I think was important to understand. And I think if that cross was maybe dealt with more quickly, then I think the goal maybe would not have happened. So I think it's those small things for me.
Yeah, it's that. It's margins, and really allowing the cross is the first I guess is the first issue. The second issue is Braguzan, his finger on the cross wasn't strong enough to really clear it far enough. It just puts it into danger, into an area where if Cucho had missed, I would have been just, I don't know, completely shocked. Like, it's a sitter. And so, ultimately, it's not necessarily that it's somebody's fault. It's the whole defense's fault. They got overloaded. They allowed themselves to get overloaded. And, they didn't mark the back post, which seems to be a symptom, unfortunately. And, we need to figure that out really quickly, because that's been the MO, I think. Like, you score on the back post against Atlanta United. Like, that's just... Like, I don't know how many goals that we've conceded that way, but it's a lot. We talk about it a lot. And, it's, I think it's at a point where, we need to adjust. We need to be able to figure out how to, not allow these same mistakes to continue to happen. But did you have some other thoughts outside of the topics that we've already talked about?
I mean, for me, I get that the team conceded the goal, but for me, I thought defense looks pretty decent. I thought Gregerson, for example, I get that he conceded the penalty, but apart from that, I felt like he showed signs of why Atlanta signed him. I think his speed, for example, and then I think just his frame. I think he made it hard for players such as like Cucho and even Rossi to find as much space as they probably wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he definitely looked like a player that, is fitting of his, I guess, wage, of his place in the team, which is, yeah, he's the third DP, whether anybody wants to say it or not. I mean, he is. And, yeah, I mean, for large in part, penalty aside, I mean, he won a foot race against Cucho. He definitely is a player that can impose himself against any player in this league. You have the size, you have the pace, and then reading of the game is pretty good. I think he'll adjust to maybe there's a physicality in this league that I think is different to some of the other leagues in Europe. I think we are a little bit more physical at times. We put that onus on that, kind of like the Premier League. We just, obviously, the Premier League is way more technical than MLS. But yeah, I mean, in terms of Almada, let's switch gears. How did you feel like he looked after being completely absent the entire preseason? I mean, obviously there is an adjustment period to him returning, but I mean, yeah, was it that far off for you?
I mean, first half he looked flat. For example, there were a bunch of times where he gave the ball away. But second half, I thought he looked quite a bit better. I think he was kind of dictating quite a bit of Atlanta's sort of success on transition in the second half. I think for me, it's kind of expected that he's not at his fully optimized best when he misses most of preseason. But I think that's where this sort of break before the next game comes in handy, where you can have time to sort of maybe catch up on what he's missed and try to develop more chemistry with his teammates. It wasn't like the most terrible performance from Amada, but obviously him missing preseason certainly doesn't really help in terms of adjusting. But for me, I don't think it will take that long for him to get adjusted back to his full best, because for me, with the quality that he has, and I think also it's fairly easy for other teammates to work with a player like him.
Yeah, that's fair points. I mean, absolutely, because he's a player that obviously is talented enough. He's played with most of these players except for Bartosz Slisz, and obviously Stian Gregerson and Derek Williams. But I don't think that Stian Gregerson is going to be combining with Almada a lot, so it's kind of a moot point. But will they have a little bit of an adjustment where, yes, okay, maybe he drops a little deeper, and there is a bit of that, but yeah, it's largely about his relationships and partnerships with Giacomakis, with Silva, with Saba, with Muyamba, with Slisz, and so I think we'll be okay, and I think that's where you're alluding to as well. But I mean, it's a club that's right now we have some things to work on, but yeah, there's optimism for the season, and I think that's the crux of it. But let's get into the chat a little bit more. So we have Isai Castrejon. My man lives in Brazil. Leave him alone. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, yeah. So somebody is talking about. Okay, yeah, and Ellie, he's talking about the goal isn't on Guzan, but the season will be. Ooh, interesting, spicy take there. But yeah, I mean, if he is in goal the entire season, what would have happened for that to happen?
I mean, Cohen probably not being as good as the club thought he would be. I think is the main reason for why he would be starting all of the matches, but I honestly don't see it happening. Yeah, that would be probably pretty calamitous. I don't think. I think even Brad Guzan would be honest in that assessment that he's probably not going to be the starting keeper at the end of the season. I think he would even bet money on that. But if not, I mean, more power to him, because that means he's won the job outright somehow. So yeah, more amazing. But yeah, Niall, what were your final thoughts on this match? Final thoughts. Sucks to not get a win in the opening game, but to be fair, I think Atlanta in general just does not have a really good track record of doing well in their opening games. I mean, the year they won the Cup, they lost 4-0 to Houston. There's definitely things that you can improve on, such as the final ball and such as the execution, but I think that will come eventually. But there are also signs that you can be encouraged about, such as players such as like Gregerson and I think Sleesh as well. I think this team through time will become a pretty dangerous team.
Love it, love it. Well, yeah, man. So definitely always appreciate your thoughts. And yeah, you know, we'll definitely be seeing more of you this season. Looking forward to it. But yes, cheers as always. Have a great rest of your nights. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, see you, man.
See ya.
All right. So that was everybody. And yeah, if you have some final thoughts on this match, leave them in the chat below. But yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely smash that like button. Show us the love. We really appreciate you. That brings us to the final part of this show, which, hold on. It's not quite where we need it to be. Hold on. Might have to do on this too. Here we go, though. We have the transition to the Wheel of Forfeit. Alright. And we'll bring it back. Everything's not really loaded in yet. Also, it's not my computer, so bear with me here. But we will be doing the Wheel of Forfeit here. And we will show you what we are doing, but here we are. Bring it to the forefront here. And so as always, we have AJ and Mike as the two that we will spin, and the things that we will spin here: the spicy challenge, the soccer skill challenge, yelling I love Breck Shea in public, dressing up for a stream, and listening to a song you don't like. So, first off, we will spin who it will be. So let's go. Spinning, spinning, spinning. We have got Mike! It's Mike again! Mike is the unfortunate winner. Alright, here we go. So, in terms of what it will be, what the forfeit will be, here we go. We spin, and it...
I'm here for it. What is it?
It's you, and it's yelling I love Breck Shea in public. I love it.
Alright.
First time it's happening, and it won't be the last time probably, but I love it. But here we go. So, bring it back.
Oh boy. That's going to be fun.
So this guy has to profess his love for Breck Shea. Wherever he is now, you know, hope he feels that love.
Yeah.
But incredible.
I'm going to channel my inner Eli Lesser about Breck Shea's love and see what I can do.
So,
and then when we put it out, you all have to tag Eli and see what he says.
Yes.
I'm sure he'll love it.
Exactly. So, yep, it is Mike again here. He will be doing it on the next stream. And that will be, of course, against the New England Revolution on March 9th. So join us then for another post-match live stream. Let's read any more of the comments that you have before. Connor Thompson says, the middest of mid, Breck Shea. And also, we up to 9 likes. Yes. Get some more on there. But anyway, so, guys, we're going to end it there. We got to go. It's late. We've been streaming for almost 2 hours. Exactly 2 hours. So, yeah, much love to you guys if you've stuck around the entire stream. For Mike, I'm AJ. Much love to you guys. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next stream, video, podcast, everything. See you later. Bye-bye. Keep dancing, because I can't find the thing.